Hi everyone, I'm here with Charlotte from PCS Legal, and we're going to talk about the buying and selling process from the perspective of a buyer and a seller. So Charlotte, thank you very much for joining me and just helping everyone kind of understand what the process is. So I suppose let's just take it from a buyer. So very briefly, just outline the steps they need to take in order to purchase a property. And actually the first thing I would say is, or would ask is, how soon do they need to be instructing someone like yourself?
Yeah, of course. So we always advise clients to instruct ourselves as soon as possible. So once they find a property or even looking to buy a property, find a solicitor that you'd like to use and work with and get instructed ASAP, so we can start sending you the relevant forms and you get them completed before an offer's even been accepted.
Perfect, okay. So they're filling out forms straight away, that's the first thing they're going to do. Those forms include?
Buyer's questionnaire, source of funds form, just detailing where your deposits come from, whether you require a mortgage, and also a stamp duty form, just confirming whether you're a first time buyer or whether it's a second property, so make sure you pay the correct stamp duty.
Fantastic. So they fill out those forms, estate agents send out the memorandum of sales. What's the next step after that?
So once we've got the sales memo, we then contact the seller's solicitor or conveyancer, making them aware that you've instructed us and chasing them for the draft documentation.
Fantastic. Searches, when do they come in?
Searches, we order them straight away once the draft contract comes in, unless obviously you prefer us to do it before. We only advise clients not to do it so the contract packs in, because you have to pay for searches up front, so in case it goes abortive.
Fantastic. And then obviously you've got a situation where you may raise some inquiries, or that the buyer may have inquiries that they want to raise. Does that take place?
Yep, that takes place once you get the draft documentation. I look through the draft documentation, which includes title deeds and protocol forms completed by the seller. I will raise initial inquiries, but I'll also send the forms to yourself to see if there's any queries that you'd like to raise, or even just from viewing the property if you have any queries.
Perfect. So let's say that's all been dealt with, all queries have been raised and answered satisfactorily. What then happens next?
So once the queries have been dealt with, searches are all in, a contract will be sent to you, which is between yourself and the seller, just detailing the purchase address and the purchase price. You will then sign that contract, send that to me, but even though you've signed it, it's not legally binding until exchange of contracts.
Perfect. And so before exchange of contracts, as a buyer, I need to get my deposit monies over to you, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's 5 or 10% depending on your mortgage offer.
Perfect. And just very briefly, just tell us what actually exchange of contracts entails.
Yeah, cool. So the main purpose of exchange of contract is deeming the transaction legally binding. So when the contract's exchanged, which is via the telephone with both conveyancers, the contract is dated, the deposit is noted, and then that deems the transaction legally binding with the said completion date.
Perfect. And then effectively, that's it. Done.
That's it to then break for completion.
So simple. Just very quickly then, from the seller's perspective, are there any things that differ slightly that the seller's going to be doing to
yeah, of course. So the seller, obviously he's selling his property, he's the one who has all the information on the property. So my advice will always be to a seller, when they instruct an estate agent, also instruct a solicitor or conveyancer to make sure they complete the relevant forms.
Perfect.
So for example, when you do the contract pack to the buyer's solicitor start the transaction, that includes their forms.
Yeah.
If they delay sending those forms, that will then delay the transaction.
Yeah. Are there anything from a seller's perspective that you would suggest a seller can do to help speed up the process?
Yeah, so my advice would always be to a seller, when they instruct a solicitor or conveyancer prior to the offer being accepted, always obtain a management pack or a landlord pack if the property is a leasehold, to ensure there's no delays later on, because we have some circumstances where we're about to exchange but we're still waiting for the pack because the landlords or the councils or housing association can take up to 4 to 8 weeks sometimes just to provide a pack.
I completely agree with you, because I've lost count of the times that I've actually had to wait, or we've had to wait for that management pack to come through, or leasehold, or inquiries to be answered by the management agent before we can actually get to an exchange of contracts. I suppose just to finish it all off, is there anything else that you would suggest a buyer or seller can do when they're choosing their solicitor conveyancer? How do they go about doing that?
Yeah, so we always, obviously, I'm selling PCS legal.
Of course,
yes. But we always advise clients get multiple quotes from various conveyancers / solicitors. Look on Google reviews, Trustpilot, Facebook, all social media these days, or your estate agents or brokers' recommendations.
Yeah.
We tend to work with a lot of estate agents like Chuck and myself, so we have good relationships, and we all want to get your transaction through correctly and quickly to make sure you get moved in. So we do advise just speak to everyone and get the best, try and get the best service out there.
I agree. I completely agree. I think recommendations or referrals are so important because it's such an important transaction that you're dealing with. It is important that you've got the right people working with you on behalf of that, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, cool.
So everyone, thank you very much, Charlotte.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm hoping that's shed a little bit of light to those of you who are hoping to buy or sell and maybe not too aware of the process. So next video will be on surveyors. Thanks very much.